Hey YouTube, it's been a while, so I thought I'd do a quick garden update. Um, there's today, 5/26. Here's my largest fig tree. It's taller than me. I don't know if I was in the shot, but it's a little taller than me, and it's got a lot of figs growing on it. They're all in here. There's a bunch in here. There's a whole lot, and I'm hoping that our summer-like um, spring conditions don't kill it. Drought. We were fortunate enough to get rain twice recently, and that's really helped a lot. But every year, this gets burnt up by the sun and it drops its figs before they produce. Here's the smaller fig trees. It's got an oak tree in with it, which I just let it be there to add extra shade. Shade is good here. We want to shield our plants from the sun. Even these little ones have a bunch of figs on them. So hopefully. I got some trees growing along the fence there that were just volunteers. Here's this elm tree that's getting large. It's a volunteer. This bulb plant is still alive, comes back every year. It might flower eventually. This is my largest mimosa. Like, this is as high as I can reach, and it goes up higher. Other mimosas, that's a pretty big one. Smaller, very small. The elm trees are pretty dang big. They were way smaller when I moved here. Here's a volunteer grapevine, I think. There's this. I put an okra here, and here. Everything else there is just like weeds or trees or junk that I'm just letting it create some shade. See? A little bit of shade. It's good. Here's a mimosa. Here's a mimosa. Here's a mimosa. They look kind of funny. They grow weird because of the shade. Here's the peach tree. It has 5 peaches growing on it that have been growing on it for a long time now, and I'm hoping that they don't drop off. Like, I'm worried about the figs dropping off. I built this to try to give it some water, to help hold in some water, so when I do water, it stays there. I was doing some composting here. Whenever I mow the yard, I do layers of this super dry stuff, green grass that just got cut, thin layers. I put water on each layer, and I spread some inoculating stuff from the compost tumbler to help with that process, and it works pretty good. Let's see if I can see that whiteness is like fungal or bacterial activity. And I tried putting some plants at the base of these trees so that they'd get shade. I put a tomato start here and here. They both died. I put one next to this tree just so I wouldn't run it over with the lawnmower. There's one over here next to this tree. I'm trying to hide them in little shaded spots because they're extremely late. They probably don't stand a chance to produce a tomato. But it was a low effort thing. I just found different places where I could put them. So here's one, and here's one that I thought they might have a chance at surviving. I harvested most of the potatoes. These were russet potatoes, and they were tiny, just a few tiny ones when I harvested them. And I left the roots there to grow back, but this was all just super dry. It was all dry. These are volunteer sunflowers. You can see this one's starting to bud. And I think this right here, hard to see. There's a wasp right in my face. That's part of the Barbados, I believe. I did put seeds there, and I'd be real happy if that is what's going on. Here's the tomato. This one, too much sun, I think. Certain times of day, this elm will give it shade, but probably too much sun. Here's the bug trap. Seems to get mostly flies. Yeah, mostly flies. And then over here I have a little tomato, okra. A little tomato looks like it's not going to make it. Okra, little tomato. There's a little tomato. Potatoes. The chard just came back. I haven't been eating it. I think if I cook it, I can eat it, but I just never do. It's providing shade for other plants. I put an okra, tomato. See how good of shade that's creating? Ooh, this one looks like it's taken off. This is the only one where I see like some growth on it. Tomato. Same on the other side. So they get some shade, some sun. Trying to shelter them. And then over here, so you'll notice these okras are bigger along this line. That's because I planted them earlier. And then I went through and planted these okras. Now for, I think, these three, I dug out a 5-gallon bucket worth of soil and I hydrated the heck out of it because it was hydrophobic. And then I put it back in there, watered a ton, and put them in there. So if we see better growth on these three than like the ones out here, then we'll know that's why. But like this real big one, the best okra I have, it didn't have any treatment like that. And so I think a much more important factor, you know, after they're safely surviving, the next most important thing is when they were put in the ground, how long they've had to grow in the ground compared to the little seed start trays. So there's no room for the roots to grow, and the top can't grow without the roots first growing. And then here's some potatoes. You can see one of them was up near the surface and it turned all green, so that's not an eaten potato. But these are still hanging in there because of the shade from the fig tree. But all those were burnt out, so I had to dig them up. And we've been eating them. Just a million yellow jackets everywhere all the time. I've gotten kind of used to it. This one's also russet. So I only have 2 russets left, and like I think that clusters 3 of the golden potatoes. All the little flower bulbs here died or are dormant from the heat. I'm not sure which. These are the daffodil. A couple daffodils I put here, they're dying pretty quick. Too much sun, way too much sun. I guess that's it. Things are pretty green right now considering our spring has been so very hot with very intense sun. Oh, snuck in a few plants here. So there's an okra. Again, trying to get shade. And this one I didn't even peel back the grass or anything. I just created a hole and stuck it in there around the grass. Because I want for the grass roots to help with their mycorrhizal fungi to help keep this watered and have nutrients available. Fire ants. Ooh, I gotta be careful. It's the first pile I've seen in a while. Gotta be careful. Okay. Meant for it to be short, but it ended up being 10 minutes. Sorry. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.